Hello and welcome to Better Body Movement. This class is designed to help you start feeling well.
I have less pain, literally eliminate that pain.
I just feel better.
I can tell that my posture is changing.
Bright light in the day when we've done our workouts online.
Makes me feel so good about myself.
Typically, runners who experience shin splints have overused the stabilizing muscles of the ankle as well as the dorsiflexion of the foot. The space between the tibia and the fibula has a sheath wrapped around it called the periosteum. This sheath oftentimes is rubbed raw, creating inflammation and tension on the shin bone. The muscles lining the anterior portion of the shin is the tibialis anterior, extensor digitorum longus, and extensor hallucis longus. Sitting on a chair in a figure 4 position, locate the edge of the tibia near the thick muscle tissue. To find the tissue we're working on, push the fingers to the edge of the tibia and drop directly into the muscle tissue. Then squeeze into the bone. Move up and down the shin vigorously. After 30 to 40 seconds working in that position, we will work the opposite side of the tibia with the thumbs. Press the fingers into the soft tissue on the opposite side of the shin. Drag the thumbs up and down vigorously for 30 to 40 seconds. Ensure you work all the way from the top to the bottom of the shin. If your fingers have a hard time tolerating the pressure, you can utilize a lacrosse ball. Holding the lacrosse ball cupped in your hand, press into the muscle tissue directly beside the tibia, working your way all the way from the top of the tibia down towards the ankle. Remember to use strong pressure directly near the bone. Continue the same kind of work on the inside portion of the tibia. Here, you can use pressure from your palm pressing into the muscle tissue while your other hand cups the ball, allowing you to create the up and down motion. Another way to work the anterior tibialis is by sitting sideways on a foam roller and leaning forward, putting pressure down into the foam roller. Obviously, this takes some balance and coordination in order to keep the pressure on the foam roller. In this position, flex the foot and relax, making sure you squeeze the anterior tibialis. Once complete with the foam roller, in the same position, utilize the lacrosse ball, creating a more pinpointed pressure on the muscle. Work your way up and down the muscle tissue right beside the shin. Typically, runners who experience shin splints have overused the stabilizing muscles of the ankle as well as the dorsiflexion of the foot. The space between the tibia and the fibula has a sheath wrapped around it called the periosteum. This sheath oftentimes is rubbed raw, creating inflammation and tension on the shin bone. The muscles lining the anterior portion of the shin is the tibialis anterior, extensor digitorum longus, and extensor hallucis longus. Sitting on a chair in a figure 4 position, locate the edge of the tibia near the thick muscle tissue. To find the tissue we're working on, push the fingers to the edge of the tibia and drop directly into the muscle tissue. Then squeeze into the bone. Move up and down the shin vigorously. After 30 to 40 seconds working in that position, we will work the opposite side of the tibia with the thumbs. Press the fingers into the soft tissue on the opposite side of the shin. Drag the thumbs up and down vigorously for 30 to 40 seconds. Ensure you work all the way from the top to the bottom of the shin. If your fingers have a hard time tolerating the pressure, you can utilize a lacrosse ball. Holding the lacrosse ball cupped in your hand, press into the muscle tissue directly beside the tibia, working your way all the way from the top of the tibia down towards the ankle. Remember to use strong pressure directly near the bone. Continue the same kind of work on the inside portion of the tibia. Here, you can use pressure from your palm pressing into the muscle tissue, while your other hand cups the ball, allowing you to create the up and down motion. Another way to work the anterior tibialis is by sitting sideways on a foam roller and leaning forward, putting pressure down into the foam roller. Obviously, this takes some balance and coordination in order to keep the pressure on the foam roller. In this position, flex the foot and relax, making sure you squeeze the anterior tibialis. Once complete with the foam roller, in the same position, utilize the lacrosse ball, creating a more pinpointed pressure on the muscle. Work your way up and down the muscle tissue right beside the shin. Typically, runners who experience shin splints have overused the stabilizing muscles of the ankle as well as the dorsiflexion of the foot. The space between the tibia and the fibula has a sheath wrapped around it called the periosteum. This sheath oftentimes is rubbed raw, creating inflammation and tension on the shin bone. The muscles lining the anterior portion of the shin is the tibialis anterior, extensor digitorum longus, and extensor hallucis longus. Sitting on a chair in a figure 4 position, locate the edge of the tibia near the thick muscle tissue. To find the tissue we're working on, push the fingers to the edge of the tibia and drop directly into the muscle tissue. Then squeeze into the bone. Move up and down the shin vigorously. After 30 to 40 seconds working in that position, we will work the opposite side of the tibia with the thumbs. Press the fingers into the soft tissue on the opposite side of the shin. Drag the thumbs up and down vigorously for 30 to 40 seconds. Ensure you work all the way from the top to the bottom of the shin. If your fingers have a hard time tolerating the pressure, you can utilize a lacrosse ball. Holding the lacrosse ball cupped in your hand, press into the muscle tissue directly beside the tibia, working your way all the way from the top of the tibia down towards the ankle. Remember to use strong pressure directly near the bone. Continue the same kind of work on the inside portion of the tibia. Here, you can use pressure from your palm pressing into the muscle tissue, while your other hand cups the ball, allowing you to create the up and down motion. Another way to work the anterior tibialis is by sitting sideways on a foam roller and leaning forward, putting pressure down into the foam roller. Obviously, this takes some balance and coordination in order to keep the pressure on the foam roller. In this position, flex the foot and relax, making sure you squeeze the anterior tibialis. Once complete with the foam roller, in the same position, utilize the lacrosse ball, creating a more pinpointed pressure on the muscle. Work your way up and down the muscle tissue right beside the shin. All right, here we go. We are going to get ready for our leg day. So if you're first time joining us, then please like or even subscribe to the video. That would be absolutely fantastic. We appreciate you being here. We start our day with some identicates. Those are individuals we're praying for. So if you ever have an identicate or someone you would like to put on our list, let me know via the comments, and we will get them put on our board as well. And then we'll go through our verse of the day and then get started on our leg day, trying to get you move functionally throughout your day. So we're going to train that and teach it today, try to get your brain connected to that muscle tissue. So let's start with our identicates. First, we've got Lori's mom doing dialysis 3 times a week. Ethan with his stage 4 liver and bile duct cancer, praying for him and his family. My friend's wife who was diagnosed with breast cancer, they're treating that naturally, and there's no bad progression. And just little gains of good progression. So we want to continue to pray for healing over her. Sky toying with her transplant, coming off the medications. She's getting stronger. She's eating food. She's seeing a change. 100% take on the host for the bone marrow transplant. So that's fantastic. They were showing a 0% cancer within her system, which is even more fantastic, but there is still a chance for the Graves' first host disease to come into play. So pray against that she would stay healthy through this process. Cheney with his continual diabetes monitor, trying to help him understand kind of how to take care of his diabetes at 17. That can be a difficult thing. Hayden, that's Lois's grandson, has run away, still gone, no real idea there. So just be praying for them and the family to have some sort of peace while he's gone. I know that's really difficult to think that we could have peace in a situation like that, but just every so often, if they could get confirmation that he is alive, that is one of the best things. And then praying for Kira after her 7-hour lymphatic surgery, trying to pray healing over her as well. Now, our verse of the day is a very overwhelming verse. You, therefore, must be perfect, as your heavenly Father is perfect. Matthew 5:48. And that, to me, drives me into the great depths of despair, because it's never going to happen, which is why we are sanctified through the blood of Jesus Christ and what he did on the cross. Just plain and simple, as far as the beliefs that we have for who Jesus is and what he stood for. That's it. We can't be perfect, and he is the propitiation of the sin that we have in the world. So trust in him and have him be the one who supplies us with that perfection. And then, walking in the truth of who he has called us to be versus walking in the darkness or what the world wants us to walk in, which is what Satan wants in our lives. So remembering we are perfected through Jesus Christ. All right, let's jump into our workout here. We're going to start with showing you the tools for each one of these different sets of workouts. So basic, you want a chair, maybe a stability ball to work against the wall. Intermediate, you're going to have a loop band. In the advanced, you can use a loop band and also a continual loop band. Okay, good warm-ups. We'll start with those shoulders. Get them moving here. I guess we can adjust the screen a little bit. Okay, remember, we do want the shoulders to be going through the range of motion as well, right? Shrug them up, roll them back, right? If you want to start with just even your shoulders, get them rolling around, warming up that muscle tissue, right? Then add in the arms, reaching up, forward, and also back. So when my arms go back, I also want to take my shoulders with it, right? Reach way back. You might even take your thumbs and go up towards the ceiling, palm up. That really helps to set those shoulders. Almost like you're swimming. I just think, you comedian, you.
No, I'll kick my legs, I kick, and I just
Straight down. All right, good internal, external rotation. Again, same thing with the shoulders. Pull them back, roll them forward. We want the shoulders going through their full range of motion to get started here. Okay, good march. Get those legs a moving, get the blood pumping through the body. Good leg swings. Remember here, if you want to brace your spine, right, core compressed, keep the hips from actually rotating under the spine and the low back, that is just fine, right? Just to make sure that we're creating some movement, it just needs to be in the hip joint, right? So you don't have to swing the whole hip underneath, opening through, right? And that's especially if you have any sort of inflammation, spondylolisthesis or litis, in the low back. We don't want to create a grind, okay? Make sure you switch legs, get a good swing in the joints, just trying to lubricate that joint with some synovial fluid. Movement does that. That's why Eric Dalton says motion is lotion. Just getting those muscles warmed up, ready to roll. Hip flexor stretch. Remember, tuck your butt here, right? I don't want you to think arching your back is helping, right? What actually helps is taking your hips and tucking your pelvis with that back leg straight. That's going to create a nice stretch in the front of the hip. And you can kind of pull it up to activate, stretch it, and then pull it up to activate and switch, right? Back and forth between the two, making sure you get a good stretch and then contract and then relax. Very good.
Three, 2, 1. Get ready to squat.
Okay, so now as we get ready for our squats, this is the most important movement that we have because it's sitting down and standing up. Rip the floor apart.
3, 2, 1. Squat.
Okay, it's so often that this is missed in our everyday movements. A lot of times, especially for women, what I see is those knees collapse together, right? You need to sit down modestly so those knees come together. That actually is training your body very poorly to manage how you sit down and stand up. Right?
That's
so
halfway.
we want to stand by ripping the floor apart and knees driving out into the bands to create pressure in the glutes. Okay, so the whole focus is that we contract and control the glutes, right? Between Monday and Tuesday's workouts, Monday being core day.
1. Transition to single leg step down.
Okay, single leg step down. But between Monday being core day and Tuesday being upper body day, keep those active, just like we did on those days. Core compress, shoulder blades down and back,
3,
then create
2,
movement through your hips.
1. Single leg step down.
Okay, so if you want to do single leg step downs, right, we can do that. You can do lunges, or you can be doing RDLs like Jacob over here. Regardless of what you choose to do, core needs to stay tight, shoulders need to be set down and back, right? So we're continually activating your lats, pulling
That's
the shoulders
halfway.
into position, right? Then we create the sit, stand back up. Right? So single leg work, we're going to keep the hips in position. I don't want you hiking up the hip and changing your position as you move. You need to keep it controlled all the way through.
3, 2, 1. Switch sides.
Or you said again.
Yep, other leg. So now you can change the style that you do, Marsha. If you're going to do like those
1.
step aerobics.
Single leg step
You
down.
might go sideways. Yeah, there you go. Nice.
But like I said, I have to think about what I'm doing.
Well, and that's a
It
part of
doesn't come naturally.
right. That's a part of that movement, right? When's the last time you laterally stepped up some
That's
stairs?
halfway.
Probably not.
Right? We don't approach stairs sideways, right? So you can also change that, standing on the side of a step, right? Stepping off to the side and then stepping back up, right? And then you switch halfway through and lead your other leg up the stair. Whatever it is, core compressed,
1.
shoulders down and back.
Transition to good morning.
Okay, good mornings. Remember, this is a horizontal movement of the hips. So your hips should be traveling backwards and forwards. We're not thinking face or chest to the floor.
2.
Okay?
1. Good morning.
Stick your butt up, right? Roll the hips and stick the butt up. That's what we want. Good control.
That's halfway.
Very good. Remember, core compressed, squeeze tight.
3, 2, 1. Transition to monster walk.
Okay, monster walks. Remember, when we get into that seated position, right? So as we sit, we're going to push the
3,
butt backwards,
2, 1.
right? We're not just
Monster
bending the
walk.
knees and dropping straight down. Hips go back. Then that's how we load the butt cheeks, right? You're pinching those butt cheeks together like you're pinching a penny. Super, super tight, okay? So continue that compression through your core and shoulders, maintaining good spinal bracing from top to bottom.
That's
Okay?
halfway.
Then you create that glute compression, pinching that penny nice and flat, okay? Keep it going. And again, you can do it forward, you can do it laterally. Either way is fine. Work through each and see maybe what is the most difficult, what burns the most, and then try doing more of that.
1. Transition to VMO left.
Awesome. Okay, VMOs. So that's vastus medialis oblique. That's why I call it VMO. A little easier. Remember, we're going to straighten the knee and get really, really tight through
3,
the movement, okay?
1. VMO left.
So again, the whole point is that the knee straightens and locks out. We want to get that nice and tight, then create the lift, right? We're not just flicking the knee straight and bending, okay? The whole point is that we get it locked and squeeze tight, tight, tight. It should almost feel like a cramp
That's
in your
halfway.
upper quad, okay? Good, good, good. Nice work all the way through. Remember to do your absolute best to complete each movement the best that you can. The best you can is core and shoulders bracing your
3,
spine, and
2,
then think about your movement.
1. Transition to VMO right.
Good. Okay, VMO on the other side. Switch legs.
3, 2, 1. VMO right.
VMOs on the other side, making sure again, lock your knee. You can pull the toes up towards the knee, right? Really, really firm. Push your heel away, driving your legs straight, but also still sitting tall,
halfway.
right? We want to brace that spine in our seated position. Very, very important. Good, good work. Again, doing your best all the way through the movement.
3, 2, 1. Transition to hamstring curl.
Okay, good hamstring curls.
3,
Remember, doing your
2,
absolute best,
1.
staying tall and
Hamstring.
tight. Compress that core firm, firm, firm. Squeeze those heels. Shoulders down and back, really firm. You're doing your absolute best. Good core compression, squeeze,
That's
firm, firm,
halfway.
firm. Again, doing your best all the way through. Again, core compress,
3,
tall, tight,
2,
tall, tight.
1. Long rest.
All right. Long rest. Go ahead and get set for round 2. Remember, we can change the style or the approach and the intensity to differentiate how we're working out. So if we go slow and controlled through our movements, that's going to build neurological synapses, brain to muscle tissue. If we add resistance, that's going to build strength. You can do more repetitions, and that will build your cardio, right? Just moving more. You can add those last 2 together to create our calorie burn, so add resistance and repetitions, okay? Get set and ready. Remember, you might run through the list up above us here for our dedicates, for those individuals we're praying for, dedicating this time to. Continue to think about that as we go. This isn't just about ourselves. Dedicating the intention.
2.
Okay, here we go.
Squat.
Good squats. Remember, rip the floor apart with the feet. You should be actively driving them apart before you ever even sit down. Drive out, drive out, drive out. And then as you stand up, drive down and out, down and out. Okay? And you should always be finishing nice and tall, right? We don't want to finish right here. We want to actually finish by tucking the butt underneath and pinching the penny tight. Okay? So if you think sitting down onto a chair, there's $100 on that chair, you want to pinch it with your butt cheeks and stand up with it. Okay? And then hold on to it like you're not going to lose it.
1. Transition to single leg step down.
Or squeeze it like the stock market's trying to steal it.
3, 2, 1. Single leg step down.
I think we've felt that in retirement funds here and there in the past couple of years.
Yeah, but Randy suggested it, right? Last week, it's about this week.
Oh, hey, moving up,
So it's good enough.
going in the right direction. Good. Remember,
That's
core
halfway.
compressed, right? Squeeze nice and firm so you can brace your lumbar spine, then create your movement. Remember, anything that's hip related, which is everything today, we want to hold the glutes nice and tight, right? So as you go through the motion down, right,
3,
holding
2,
the tension there, and then
1.
push up tall,
Switch sides.
squeezing the penny tight. Okay, other side. Again, you can do lunges as well, where you just set in a stationary place, and then you want to travel straight up and down, right?
3,
So for me,
2,
I'm following this bar,
1.
right?
Single leg
Straight
step
down,
down.
straight up, straight down, straight up. Using both legs. Again, any step up or individual leg movement that you do not change the position of your hips when you go to lift to step up onto something. Again, everything we do all day long, if
That's
those hips
halfway.
are constantly moving and shifting and hiking up, you're going to be changing the position of those low lumbar vertebrae, and those should be solid, right? They shouldn't be creating a bunch of pinch points on your nerves. So the more we can build compression in the core through active range of motion, the stronger you're going to feel.
2, 1. Transition to good morning.
Okay, good mornings. With good mornings, you can
3,
squeeze your butt cheeks to stand up
1.
really tall.
Good morning.
Press really, really tight. Shoulder blades down and back just as hard as you possibly can. Good.
That's halfway.
Do your absolute best. Absolute best. Okay, again, squeeze tight. Butt cheeks together as firmly as you can.
3, 2, 1. Transition to monster walk.
Very good. Okay, monster walks.
Three, 2, 1. Monster walk.
Here we go. Good monster walk. Stay nice and tall and tight. Core compressed. Firm squeeze through the butt cheeks, just as tight as you possibly can.
That's
Again, doing
halfway.
your absolute best to maintain your postural positioning. Shoulders down and back, core compressed. Spine should just stay in its alignment, not collapsing or falling over with gravity. We want to fight gravity with those shoulders and our head.
3,
Again,
2,
compress, compress, compress.
1. Transition to VMO leg.
Perfect. All right, get set. Ready to go.
3, 2, 1. VMO left.
Okay, VMOs. Again, remember, contract the knee nice and tight, right? Lock it out as firmly as you can, pushing the heel away and driving the toes up. You can kind of see that over where Jacob's working as he pushes or straightens his knee and pushes his heel to the ground. Naturally, his
halfway.
toes come up. So I want the same thing even if you're sitting in the chair. Drive the leg straight, toes up, compress that quad, right? It's not a kick. This is a lift or a raise if you're doing the raise. Very different.
3,
Awesome.
1. Transition to VMO right.
Very good. Okay, VMO on the other side. Make sure, again, lock that knee out and get really
2,
tight.
1. VMO right.
Sit tall, shoulder blades down and back, core compressed. Again, lock that knee, straighten, press, compress, compress.
That's halfway.
We should get a hat with like a Lake Fit colored tassel or a Molenkamp physical therapy tassel. It's the other side. I'm all done.
3, 2,
That would differentiate
1.
physical therapy.
Transition to hamstring curl.
All right, last one for legs this round. All right, core compress, sit tall, shoulders down and back. Drive those heels, bend the
3,
knees, right?
2,
Make the back of the
1.
legs really
Hamstring.
tight. Compressing all the way through. Again, doing your absolute best. Think about what you're trying to gain. We're trying to gain strength or activity. Pull hard, hard, hard. Try to make that foam roller explode all the way through. Okay, good compression.
That's halfway.
So Lauren's birthday's coming up in just like 2 days. She's going to be 13. My wife had a brilliant idea. She's having women who all have been a part of Lauren's life to just affirm her and tell her things they wish they would have known at 13.
Long rest.
So she's getting all these letters written from people she loves and respects, and just as far as encouragement, we'll see what she does. I think it'll be really cool. All right, 2 rounds down. So again, pick what you want as far as intensity goes. Make sure you follow through with that through the entirety of the next round. Okay, so whether that's slow controlled neurological, adding resistance for strength, moving faster for cardio, or calorie burn by adding strength and repetition, right? Resistance and repetition is going to make you work harder,
3,
okay? Here we go.
1. Get ready to squat.
Get ready for the squats. Remember, core compressed, shoulder blades down and back, holding nice and firm all the way through.
3, 2, 1. Squat.
Okay, again, you want to do your absolute best to maintain your positioning. So again, before you start, shoulder blades down and back, core compressed, rip the floor apart. This is where we're going to see the biggest change in the way that the hips operate, creating extension, especially to stand up. With a bent hip, I want to activate my glutes to create straight hips, okay? Good, good, good. Do your best all the way through. Again, if you want to add resistance, add some resistance. If you're going for more repetitions, right, get more repetitions. Try to do it continuously. See how you do.
3, 2, 1.
Awesome.
Transition to single leg step down.
Okay, single leg step downs. You can do lunges, step downs, single leg work on a step or good mornings.
1. Single leg step down.
Again, if you're going to do lunges, you need your feet set apart to where you can go straight down and push up. You don't have to touch your knee to the floor. You need to keep your posture and position in place. Okay, if you need something to hold on to, like a bar or a table, something like
That's
that,
halfway.
that's fine. Use that to assist you up from that movement. Okay, but we do want to build strength through that movement. It's one of the primaries as far as getting up and down from the floor. It is a lunge position. Outside of taking steps, especially if you have steps in your house.
Switch sides.
Okay, here we go. Other side. Remember, focus on what you're choosing as far as intensity. Focus on it, do it, get after it.
3, 2, 1. Single
we go.
leg step down.
Good single leg step downs. Remember, compress that core, squeeze nice and tight. Butt cheeks together really firm, right? We want to force those legs to be working. So even think VMO through the stand-up position, right? Especially if we're pressing up with a single leg. VMO and butt,
That's
right?
halfway.
Get it really tight and then back down. Control your position all the way through. Good, Lois. I love the control through the hips. Not letting them hike.
3, 2, 1. Transition to good morning.
Good mornings. Remember, horizontal movement of the hips. The butt is reaching backwards as far as you can and then pull up.
3,
Reach
2,
your butt back,
1.
then squeeze your
Good
hips
morning.
forward. And again, I want you to think shoulders back, right? Keep the head retracted. For most individuals, right? For most of you, you're going to want to slump, okay? So we want to overcorrect. You arch your
That's
back
halfway.
and keep your shoulders there, okay? Now, if you're able to really arch your back and stick your butt out, that's too far, okay? But there's a small percentage of you who will be there. If that's you, though, make sure you correct that by compressing the core and hold that firm. All the movement should come
3,
through the
2,
hip joint.
1. Transition to monster walk.
Good, monster walks. Okay, again, get ready for the monster walk with the knee band around the knees, especially if your knees
2,
turn in
1.
valgus
Monster walk.
or your knock-kneed. If you're knock-kneed, put the band at your knees, push that band out. We're trying to create external rotation through the hips to create a better alignment and position within the knees. Okay. If you want it to be more difficult, you can put it down
That's
at the ankles.
halfway.
That's a long lever, so it puts even more torque into the glute. Okay. Especially if you go backwards, you can really feel your butt trying to extend your leg back as you go. Okay.
3,
Use the
2,
butt cheek to push the
1.
heel backwards.
Transition to VMO left.
Okay, VMOs. We're almost there, ladies. Almost there. Again, do your absolute best all the way through.
3,
Squeeze
2,
and control.
VMO left.
Okay, nice tight squeeze. Contract through. Right? Think toes up, heel away. Straighten the leg as hard as you possibly can. Good, good, good. Tight compression.
That's halfway. Three, 2, 1. Transition to VMO right. Three, 2, 1. VMO right. That's halfway. Three, two, one. Transition to hamstring curl. Three, two, one. Hamstring. That's halfway. Three, two, one. Long rest.
Okay, all done with 3 rounds. We have 1 more to go, so do your absolute best through it. Remember, pick your intensity. Slow and controlled for neurological connection. Add resistance for strength. Add repetition for cardio. Or calorie burn is going to be both adding resistance and adding repetition. Do your absolute best all the way through this last round.
3, 2, 1. Get ready to squat.
Okay, ready to squat. Again, I cannot tell you enough the importance of ripping the floor apart. Get
3,
that pressure
2,
out,
1.
driving your
Squat.
feet apart. Right? So it's not necessarily stance, but it is how you rip apart. So think standing on a newspaper and you're trying to slide your feet apart, just ripping that right down the middle. Okay? As you stand all the way tall, you should be pinching your butt
That's
cheeks
halfway.
together, super duper tight. Very good. Core compressed. Hold firm, 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 all the way through. Okay, do your absolute best.
3, 2, 1. Transition to single leg step down.
Single leg step downs. So again, you can do step down, you can do step ups, lunges, or RDLs. Any one of those is fine.
3,
Make
2,
sure you focus.
1. Single leg step down.
Core compressed, right? You're squeezing your butt cheeks and standing all the way tall. Get up, up, up. Make sure you have good positional alignment. Shoulder blades down and back.
That's halfway.
Press that core. Squeeze tight, tight, tight. Again, your absolute best all the way through. You want to make sure that you get the most out of the training, right? So some of it's push yourself, right?
3, 2, 1. Switch sides.
Okay, switch sides. Again, work through your positional alignments first. Core, shoulders
3,
set in place.
2, 1. Single leg step down.
Do not do that. Glad your hands were prepared. Very good. Again, everything you do here, core, compress, shoulder blades, down and back. I want you to
That's
really
halfway.
think about how you're holding your position. Very good. Remember, driving through the hip, driving through the hip.
3, 2,
Good.
1. Transition to good morning.
All right, good mornings. Again, imagine a rope or a bar on your hips, and that bar is pulling your butt backwards, okay? You're trying to stay up tall, but
2,
that's pulling you
1.
back, right?
Good morning.
You want that pressure back, working through it, and then squeeze up tall. Again, it's all about the butt and the hamstrings here. You should feel a stretch on the hamstrings. That comes from pushing your belly button to the floor, right? So my belly button is going down,
That's
not
halfway.
my chest. Okay? I want to push my belly button. There should be a big rotation in the hip joint when we do that. And the straighter you keep your knees, as straighter you keep your knees, the more stretch you're going to get on the hamstrings.
2, 1. Transition to monster walk.
Good. Monster walks. Again, if you're knock-kneed, put the band at your knees. That's going to force external rotation, begin to strengthen those knees actually even more.
3,
If you want more
2,
resistance,
1.
you can place it
Monster walk.
at your ankles. That's going to make a long lever with pressure a lot more difficult through the glutes, okay? Again, core and shoulders, compress them, get them really tight all the way through, doing your absolute best. Absolute best.
That's halfway.
Good, good, good. Keep on going. All the way through. Compress the core. Squeeze your butt cheeks really, really tight. Firm, firm squeeze.
2, 1. Transition to VMO leg.
Okay. VMOs. So remember, you can really work that by adding a band in even. Right? So stand on the band, but then try to straighten your knee.
1.
Really good way to add resistance to this. If you need to, just to get the knees working, pump the kneecap a couple of times while your leg is straight or on the ground. Get your quad flexing really, really tight, and then once you get it tight, then create your lift and set back down. Squeeze, firm, firm, firm.
That's halfway.
Halfway, so recheck, shoulders, core. You're sitting tall. That line is pulling you up to the ceiling. Right? Firm squeeze through. Okay, then really get that quad tight, 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 active. Heel away, toes up.
3,
Very
2,
good.
1. Transition to VMO right.
Other side, we're almost there, ladies. One more after this. Then we're all done.
3, 2, 1. VMO right.
Good tight squeeze again. Tall, tight, tall, tight. Awesome. Then you can roll into different positions, right? Point your knee different directions.
That's
point your
halfway.
foot in different directions, all the while lock, compress really tight, straighten that knee.
Three, two,
Good.
1. Transition to hamstring curl.
Okay, hamstring curls. Get set up, last one, so do your absolute best. Sitting tall, core tight, shoulders down and back.
3,
Then, pull
2,
those heels.
1. Hamstring.
Right? Drive the heels hard. Right? The focus is bending the knees. Right? Bend the knees, pull, pull, pull. Try to destroy the foam roller or whatever you're pulling your heels into. Break it, break it, break it. All the way, all the way. Okay, and your best, your best.
That's halfway.
Squeezing through. Good. Create a good compression. Tall, tall, tall.
Three,
Almost
2,
there.
1. Long rest.
Awesome. Very, very good work, ladies. I hope you have an absolutely fantastic day. Remember, if you joined us for the workout, please give us a like. Let me know that you were here. We love seeing your comments. And in the comments below, I asked the question, what is the most painful movement that you experience in the day? Let me know, and then we can hopefully get some videos together to show you how to improve that as we go. Remember, our self-massage work is very, very important, so I want you to make sure you get that in. It's one thing to create contraction and control, right, like our workouts. It's a whole nother to force your muscle into relaxation and creating room for your nervous system to really reset and get your muscles to work the way that they should and create balance back into your body the way that it should be. I am here to help you move well so you live well. Have an absolutely fantastic day.
Typically, runners who experience shin splints have overused the stabilizing muscles of the ankle as well as the dorsiflexion of the foot. The space between the tibia and the fibula has a sheath wrapped around it called the periosteum. This sheath oftentimes is rubbed raw, creating inflammation and tension on the shin bone. The muscles lining the anterior portion of the shin is the tibialis anterior, extensor digitorum longus, and extensor hallucis longus. Sitting on a chair in a figure 4 position, locate the edge of the tibia near the thick muscle tissue. To find the tissue we're working on, push the fingers to the edge of the tibia and drop directly into the muscle tissue. Then squeeze into the bone. Move up and down the shin vigorously. After 30 to 40 seconds working in that position, we will work the opposite side of the tibia with the thumbs. Press the fingers into the soft tissue on the opposite side of the shin. Drag the thumbs up and down vigorously for 30 to 40 seconds. Ensure you work all the way from the top to the bottom of the shin. If your fingers have a hard time tolerating the pressure, you can utilize a lacrosse ball. Holding the lacrosse ball cupped in your hand, press into the muscle tissue directly beside the tibia, working your way all the way from the top of the tibia down towards the ankle. Remember to use strong pressure directly near the bone. Continue the same kind of work on the inside portion of the tibia. Here, you can use pressure from your palm pressing into the muscle tissue, while your other hand cups the ball, allowing you to create the up and down motion. Another way to work the anterior tibialis is by sitting sideways on a foam roller and leaning forward, putting pressure down into the foam roller. Obviously, this takes some balance and coordination in order to keep the pressure on the foam roller. In this position, flex the foot and relax, making sure you squeeze the anterior tibialis. Once complete with the foam roller, in the same position, utilize the lacrosse ball, creating a more pinpointed pressure on the muscle. Work your way up and down the muscle tissue right beside the shin.